Okay, so this is a short video recorded by Dr. Shan to show you how to construct control charts in Minitab. Now let's take a look at example. This is on slide 27. The example is in textbook, page 184 and 185. Let's say that the production that we're focusing on is producing shafts, okay, consistently at the 150 per hour. Now, since the process is showing problems, your team decided to take example of 5 measurements every 10 minutes from production. Now, the value of this day's production run, showing figure 10.5, is also available in the shaft Excel file and the shaft Minitab file on Blackboard. Okay, so now let's go to Minitab. So this is the data. You can see that column 2 corresponding to the ID for the subgroup. We have 21 subgroup, and column 3 to column 7 corresponding to the 5 examples within each subgroup. And then column 9 is corresponding to X bar. That's the example average. So the first subgroup has example average of 11.994. Okay, so that's the average of those 5 values. Okay, so you calculate all the 21 averages for the 21 subgroup, and then you calculate the grand average. That's the average of this 21 value here. Okay, and then R is column 10 is R is range. That's the maximum value of each subgroup minus the minimum value within each subgroup. So for example, for the first subgroup, the maximum value is 12.03. That's example 3, and example 1 has the smallest value, which is 11.95. So the difference between these two is 0.08, which is recorded in here, column 10, cell 1. Similarly, you can get 21 R values. Okay, and then this cell is just the average of those two 21 R values. And you also have a column 11 corresponding to the standard deviation, sample standard deviation. Okay, so that's our data. Now let's take a look at how can we construct control chart. You go to stat control charts, variable charts for subgroup. First, we look at X bar and R chart. So there are two options. One is all observations for the chart in one column. So we already saw this. If we have another column, let's say that column 13 corresponding to all the 105 points, then you will use that option. Okay, so basically if you have column 13, the first 5 values corresponding to the first 5 values in subgroup 1, and then the 6th value corresponding to 12.03, which is sample 1 in subgroup 2. If you continue in this fashion, you can create a single column containing all the data. Now if you create a such column in 13, then you can go to control chart, variable chart for subgroups, X bar and R. You can choose column C13 will show up here, and you can select that. Now we will go with observations for subgroup are in one row of columns. So this matches our conditions here. So we first want to hit the blank space, and this column will no longer be grayed out. So we select the 5 columns, 5 samples, and choose select. So now we are ready, and we hit OK. So the Minitab is constructing the X bar chart and R chart for us. Now we first take a look at R chart, which is in the bottom, and we do not see any obvious patterns, although those 4 points seem to be increasing. However, we only need to pay attention when there's 7 consecutive points, 6 or 7 consecutive points showing an increasing trend. In this case, it's not that alarming. Okay, so we said it's okay. Now let's take a look at X bar chart. So as the slides also show, there are 3 problem area. One is the first 10 points. Although they are all within control limits, but they are all above the central line, so indicating that there might be some assignable cause that we need to investigate. Now, if you look at point 12, 13, 14, they are highlighted by red by Minitab, so indicating that they are out of the control limits. Okay, so this is another problem area that we need to investigate. Now, if you continue to look at those the points after that, you can see those 7 consecutive points, they are displaying an increasing trend, so indicating there's another problem that we need to study. Okay, so that's how we construct a X bar chart and an R chart. Now let's see how we can construct the X bar and the S chart. So just below the X bar and the R chart, so if it X bar and S. Now again we choose observation for subgroup in a row and then highlight it. So this it will appear, and then we highlight the first 5, not the first 5, the 5 examples, and then we hit OK. So you can see, first we look at the S chart. Notice that the point from 5 to 10, the 6 consecutive point, they seem to be exhibiting an increasing trend. Although it's not necessarily increasing because exactly increasing because point 7 is a little bit lower than point 7. However, this is still alarming signal that we want to investigate. Okay, so we can see the R chart tell us, sorry, so recall that R chart doesn't show us any alarming signal, while S chart does tell us something, right? So S chart contains more information in general than R chart because it uses information from all the data points in a subgroup, while the R chart only uses 2 data points. Okay. However, this is for illustration. Usually, if we have 10 or more data points within each subgroup, sample within each subgroup, then we will use S chart. Otherwise, we will use R chart. Okay. So after we investigate the S chart, first we need to address this. Now let's say that we already addressed this and the S chart looks okay. Then we can take a look at the X bar chart. The X bar chart is almost the same as the previous one, although it's constructed using different set of formulas. So it's using the S instead of sample average, sample standard deviation instead of R, which is range, right? But the X bar the control limits and the central line constructed for the X bar chart is the same. Okay, so that's the end of the video. Thank you very much. So you should also look at the voice recorded presentation, PPT, as well. Okay, thank you.